Alright, hello everyone and welcome. Snowman here, and today I wanted to take a look back at the 2018 tennis season. There were so many classics and great moments. Today though, I wanted to look back at the ATP and the WTA season and give you my top 10 tennis matches from the year 2018. Alright, we'll begin the countdown with what I thought was the 10th best tennis match of the year, men's, women's, across the season. This was Aryna Sabalenka and Naomi Osaka in the round of 16 at the US Open. These two players are both so special. Osaka obviously went on to win this tournament in Flushing Meadows, but this was a great three-set match, back and forth. Each player, there wasn't really a close set. They kind of dominated the set or sets that they won, but Osaka and Sabalenka are such streaky players. When they get on tears, the power that they have in their game, the ability to take the racket out of your hands. Both Osaka and Sabalenka so young, both 20 years of age, and this one was so fun. I'm going out on a limb here and saying this is going to be a Grand Slam final matchup. If not in 2019, then definitely in 2020, 21. I mean, these two players are ascending. Osaka became a star last year. Sabalenka is right there with that run she had in New Haven and in the Asian swing late in the year. But this was a great match, just fireworks on display, two power young stars, and it was a lot of fun in New York. At number 9, I'm going right back to the US Open, and what can I say? Most of the best matches from the year are going to be from the Grand Slams. It's that best 3 out of 5 matchup, of course, in the men's game that just creates an extra bit of drama, and this one was great. It was kind of an interesting 3-game stretch for Nadal at the US Open where he had to go up against Khachanov, Basilashvili, and Dominic Thiem. More on that team match in a little bit. But those three took so much out of Nadal. What a destructive... I mean, we know the game of tennis is a destructive game, especially on a player like Nadal and with his limbs and all the knee tendonitis he's had over the years. But this game, it's just... Khachanov 6'6", and he's a beefy dude. He's not built like Sasha Zverev. Khachanov is a tank. These two guys just traded missiles back and forth all night long, and it's crazy that Nadal withstood this match and Basilashvili and Thiem and made it all the way to the semifinals in New York. But this was a great one. A young stud against a savvy veteran, and it was a lot of fun. Speaking of savvy veterans, the 8th best match of the year, in my opinion, Roger Federer getting beaten by Juan Martín del Potro in the Indian Wells final back in March. So much class, so much grace, yet so much passion on the court in California that day. These two guys played an epic 3-setter that saw Juan Martín del Potro win his first career Masters 1000 title. This was a game of very, very slim margins. It had everything, tiebreakers, balls hitting the line. These two guys can paint the court, and we'll talk more about Delpo in a little bit, but his ability to just control the game with his forehand, and now his backhand slice has also gotten so much better throughout the last couple of years since he's had to slice it a lot more on the backhand and with all of his wrist surgeries. This was a great culmination for Delpo. It was great to kind of see him fully back and recovered from 2013 until then. He really was kind of inconsistent in and out of the tour with injury problems. So that was a great moment between two of the classiest guys on the tour. I'm going to another match with Roger Federer for my 7th best match of 2018. Federer-Djokovic Paris Indoor Masters semifinals. And this one was a heartbreaker for a Fed fan like myself. Djokovic won this match without breaking Roger a single time. Fed actually had more breaks. He broke him in the second set to win that 7-5. Joker won the other 2 sets in tiebreakers, including 8-6 in the first, 7-3 in the third. And Djokovic was not good in the big points on this match. He was 0 for 12 converting breakpoint opportunities. Fed was just hanging on by the skin of his teeth, but in the end, Fed came out just a little flat in that final decisive tiebreak, and Djokovic was able to continue his epic streak that he was on in the late summer. I think that was his 22nd consecutive match win. But, another classic. They've played, almost 50 times in their illustrious careers, and that was certainly another great chapter in that epic novel. Number 6, if you don't know about Hsieh Su Wei, I hope you do after this year. She was a giant killer in the Masters. I have the 6th best match of 2018 when she knocked off Simona Halep, the number 1 player in the world at the 3rd round of Wimbledon last year. Shea Su Wei just has such a fun game, so unorthodox, so off-kilter. She hits any and every shot in the book. I mean, even more, like Daria Kasatkina is a player who I think is a master of playing with some spice, variability, mixing it up. But Shea Su Wei takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, she is just, it's almost Kyrgios-esque, some of the mind-boggling things she will employ to try to win. She doesn't have the raw power like Osaka or Sabalenka, so she's got to get a lot more creative. And she literally did everything. Drop shots galore on grass in London against Halep. Shea Su Wei also took down Garbine Muguruza in the second round of the Australian Open in 2018. So she's slaying some pretty big names, and this was so fun. She was a breath of fresh air, so humble in victory after this one as well, and two great sports. It was a lot of fun at Wimbledon. And let's go back to Wimbledon now for the fifth best match of the year. This was Rafael Nadal defeating Juan Martín del Potro in a really fun 5-set match. And this is two contrasting styles. Del Po, we know him, the offensive juggernaut, can just pound. And Nadal, he's like a fierce lion running at you. Defense can be legendary when he is on. And we know how good his forehand is. But this was fun. Like I say, contrasting styles. And this one, unfortunately, it took a lot out of Nadal for his next match, which I'm going to talk about later at this Wimbledon tournament. But this is good. I mean, two good friends. Really, all these guys, Fed, Djokovic, Nadal, Del Po, you know, some of them are better friends than others, but they all respect each other so much. And these two guys, you could see it when they kind of embraced after this match. Del Po, he was just done. I mean, he slipped on the final match point. He was totally out of energy. He gave it his all. 5 sets. It was a marathon, but Del Po and his running bomb of a forehand was just not good enough on that day. And Nadal moved on to the semifinals at Wimbledon. Number 4 on my list, Caroline Wozniacki defeats the 119th ranked women's player in the world at the Australian Open, second round matchup against Jana Fett. And maybe the quality of tennis in this match is not up to par with some of the other ones I've talked about. Definitely not as high as the final 2 I'm going to speak about. But what this match was all about, it was a legacy game for Caroline Wozniacki. This was a chance for her to right the ship and shut up all the critics, think about all the demons that must have been racing through her head when she was down 5-1, 15-40, having to save 2 match points in this match, and just everything probably flooded through her. All the jokes about being the greatest tennis player to never win a Grand Slam. Well, she slammed the door on that. She finally put that to rest. It was so fun to watch Wozniacki grapple with that drama, that tension. It was real problem solving and just great theater. The way Wozniacki was able to get out of a jam against Fett here, able to extract just enough errors from the Croatian. Wozniacki went into vintage Wozniacki survival mode, and she got it done again, down from the precipice of defeat. 5-1, 15-40, 2 match points saved, and Wozniacki was just overwhelmed with joy at the end of this one. Of course, she went on to win that Australian title, her first Grand Slam trophy. Let's stick with the Australian Open now for number 3 on my list, and it is another almost upset scare, one of the giants in women's tennis. Quite nearly going down here, Simona Halep playing against the American Lauren Davis, and these two players, what they lack in height and power. I mean, these are two of the more diminutive players on the tour, but they are so quick, so balanced, and it created some very long rallies. This was a physical match. I mean, the toll it took on these two players' bodies. Lauren Davis had to call 2 medical timeouts in the third set to have blisters treated on her feet. The third set alone was 2 hours and 22 minutes. That set 15-13 in terms of games. The match as a whole almost 4 hours long, and the 48 games played here, the most ever at the Australian Open for a women's match. It was a war of attrition in the fullest sense, and for me it was amazing to watch. Even on match point, Simona Halep, for her to be able to muster up the strength and the energy to go and display a world-class stick save after Davis smacked a return right back to Halep's forehand. It was just like a look at that flick of that wrist moment. Total reflex reaction by Halep, and for her to do that in hour number 4, it was pretty incredible. So she was able to outlast. That was a marathon, and it was a lot of fun. Davis v. Halep, but the Romanian getting the better of the American on that day. All right, let's get real now here for these last 2 matches. This is a whole nother stratosphere of greatness with these last 2 matches. Number 2, Rafael Nadal defeating Dominic Thiem at the U.S. Open, 5 sets, and this was just absolute blissful tennis nirvana to the fullest extent. Dominic Thiem bageled Rafael Nadal 6-love in the first set. First time Nadal got bageled 6-love at a Grand Slam event since 2003. It was Andy Roddick back then. But after that, I mean, these 2 players couldn't have been more evenly matched. Thiem was just unloading everything he had, crushing the ball, blistering it across the court. And Rafa's D was amazing. It was an instant classic right away, or maybe right from the second set on. 7-5 in the 5th set tiebreaker, and Nadal is able to make Dominic Thiem hit just 1 extra ball, and it was so fun. I mean, talked about the Khachanov and Basilashvili matches, but this one really was the pinnacle of Rafa being tested. It's a credit to Rafa that he is in so many of these matches for my top 10 matches of 2018. That's all about his passion and his intensity and his will to win, that he's still able to pull out these matches where he shouldn't have been the victor in some of them. This one, he just pulled it out of his hat. And this was extra fun because it's kind of the king of clay, undoubtedly the greatest clay court player of all time, going up against who is dubbed the Austrian, the Prince of Clay. Nobody wants to hear about the next guy up, the next guy who's going to take your thunder. So Nadal and Thiem have always, I mean, they're friends on the tour, but they've always kind of had a relationship where Nadal wants to keep the 25-year-old in his place, per se. And this was just lightning in a bottle, sparks flying, awesome stuff, 5 sets, drama, everything, high quality. It was awesome. That's why it's number 2 on my list. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, Snowman, what on earth could possibly beat that clash between Rafael Nadal and Dominic Thiem? Well, we're going to bring our Spanish buddy back here for number 1, Rafael Nadal. You thought you could escape, but no, he's in this number 1 match as well, and it was when he played against Novak Djokovic in the 2018 Wimbledon Championships semifinals. And boy, gosh, this was a dead rubber. Most of the time in sporting events, you have some idea who the favorite is. At least from a Vegas or betting perspective, you know that somebody's favored. But this one was so even. I mean, throughout the whole entire match, if my life was on the line, I do not know who I would have guessed would have won and came through in this match. 2 of the best 3 or 4 players of all time throwing haymakers. Djokovic won the 3rd set in a tiebreaker, 11-9. This match just had everything. It ended up being 10-8 in terms of games in the 5th set. And if you don't remember what happened, Djokovic was down 7-7 in the 5th set, and he was serving down break point. So then Rafa would have been serving for the match to win at 9-7. If you haven't seen this, or if you don't remember, you have to go back and look this up, because 7-7, he's down match point, serving for his Wimbledon life. Djokovic, trying to win a major, for the first time in a couple of years. This is such big stakes right here. And Djokovic hits one of the greatest shots I've ever seen, a forehand pass that just left everyone speechless. I don't know where he came up with that shot from. Nadal was speechless. The crowd erupted. They roared. Djokovic was fully pumped up after that. And it was just incredible scenes at the All England Club. Joker comes through in epic in every sense imaginable. Just tennis nirvana, like I said. Djokovic over Nadal in the Wimbledon semifinals. All right, those are my top 10 matches of 2018. Please let me know if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said. Leave a comment if I left any great match in your opinion out. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media. If not, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon. So until then, happy tennis.